All right. Okay. Great morning. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, you guys are doing all well. So, let's go into some more questions. Okay. Here we go. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Hey, Mark. What is the difference between the universe, God, and consciousness? And can you talk more about what being in the present moment means? And also, how is it possible that time is an illusion? I feel the past and I feel the future. Tomorrow is always coming, right? Can you explain more on how I can use this to become a better conscious being and create the life I desire? Okay, so let's jump right into it so you can understand this stuff. They don't teach you this in school, so this is how you change your life, and this is how it works in the universe. In religion, they call it God. In spirituality, we call it consciousness. In science and quantum mechanics, they call it the unified field or unified field theory. What is this thing we're talking about? It's the awareness of being self-aware. It's your consciousness. God, consciousness is the same thing. What men did, they split it up to create sections, religion, so that they can use it to their own advantage. The advantage is to control you. The truth is, only you can control yourself. So God, universe, consciousness are the same thing. With one big exception that you may not realize. You are the God experiencing a human form. The reason why we know this through physics, hence the unified field. In this unified field, everything comes from that field into physical reality. How do they know this? Well, they realize that this field is made up of quantities of particles of electrons, protons, atoms, quarks, muons, gluons, etc. that are information called qubits with a Q. You and I are made from that same fundamental field. That fundamental field gives rise to every physical thing you see. That fundamental field is governed by an observer, an awareness. Number one, you are an observer. You have awareness. Number two, you are made from the same particles. Hence, you are what they call the God, the universe, experiencing itself. In simplistic terms, there's nothing you can't deny that now because science has proven that. Outdated religion stuff about this God man sitting on a throne, abolish, people. Get on. New age, new era, new discoveries will change your life. So that's the first thing you understand about that. And the beauty of all that is when you look at the ability for you to be aware. Awareness have no beginning. It cannot have any end. And we're going to go into the question you asked me about time and its present moment. So you can never not be aware. You will always be aware somewhere, my friend. Either in this, what we call universe. When I talk about universe, it's your own personal world. But it's actually the multiverse, which is extra dimensions of parallel worlds where infinite versions of you exist. Again, this is in the many worlds interpretation, quantum field theory, quantum entanglement, superposition. We're all now learning the facets that this is more trippy than you can ever imagine. So what you can do now with that knowledge, that information, you can start to use your awareness, the God power, the higher self, to change your physical world. Because again, all of it is made up of mind. Now what powers what we call the unified field, as I said, is the consciousness, an observer. Without you and I, there cannot be any universe for things to observe. So there has to be a critical point of perception, and that is us, our awareness to all of this. And your consciousness branches out. Okay, now let's go into the other question. What about time in the present moment? When you got here, and we are experiencing this version or this self, on this plane, of three-dimensional plane, we develop a mind. Key point, you were never born with a mind, people. You developed a mind. The mind came online when you were 7 or 8. It's called the neonatal sequence. That's when the critical divide part of the mind, the middle ground of the mind developed, and that helped the subconscious. Before the age 7, you were all subconscious program. You were seeing stuff. So when people say you're the mind, you're never the mind. You're not born with a mind. You came here as pure conscious awareness. You were programmed with a mind. So let's go into the mind. The mind is very limited, and because you're in a three-dimensional world, what happens is the mind developed intelligence because it needed to survive. It developed emotions, which it uses in the subconscious mind. The mind developed critical thinking. The mind developed limitations that was brought by through what's called epigenetics. That means through your ancestors, through your family. If you have depression, if you feel lonely, if you feel down, chances are you pick that up from somewhere in the genealogy of your parents. Epigenetics show that it's in your DNA. The good news is you can change that by changing your thoughts. So you control the mind. You're not the mind. That's important for people to understand. They don't teach you this. Next point now. With the mind, because the mind is in a three-dimensional world, everything to the mind is in linearity. Linear. You know what linear means? This way. Forwards, backwards. Hence, you develop the concept of time. This is why you have the past, and this is why you see a future. Bear in mind, those are illusions. They do not exist. They are concepts of the mind. Okay? You understand that? The only time that ever exists is right this moment. And how do you know it's right this moment? Because that's the only time you're ever aware of. If you notice, when you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about it now. When you're thinking about the future, you're doing it right now. Everything is in the now. So hopefully that can answer your question without getting too detailed. The present moment. The present moment is the point of your power. When you're in the present, you're in the alignment. Hold on, there's another part of this question someone asked me too. What is alignment with the universe? How do I get into alignment? I hear that alignment is where you manifest all your dreams and goals. All right, so I'll explain alignment to you, good morning, in simplistic terms. All of you have experienced alignment before in your life. Alignment is when you get the job, when the project falls through, when you get the house, when you get the raise, when you get the bonus, when you get the girl, when you get the guy, when all of a sudden everything just starts going right in your life. People compliment you. We've all been through that stretch. That's called alignment. What's happening there? What's happening there is that your thoughts and your feelings are in congruence with what you want. Whenever you're in alignment, you most likely feel good. This is why you get those job breaks, right? If you get that right call, you're like, man, wow, this week's just been a great week. Everything's just been rolling for me. The next week is the opposite. It's not rolling for you because you're out of alignment. Whenever you're in alignment, you're in the present. So how can I keep this week consistent and not next week? Because I want to always be in alignment. I don't want to have one week good and the next week bad. Well, here's the issue. The key point to being in alignment is to understand what your mind is doing and thinking to you. Most likely, whenever you're out of alignment, is these two things happening. You're either in the past or you're thinking about the future. You're never going to be able to get what you want when you do that, because they have no realities of their own. You're distracting yourself from what the universe is presenting to you in the present moment. So, if you want to be more aligned, stop thinking too much about the past and stop thinking too much about the future. And if you want help, I can give you help. I can show you what you can do right now that automatically puts you in the present moment. The only thing you got to do to be in the present moment is just think of what could possibly go right in your life. If every day you get up and you just start to think about, man, what if this work out? What if that work out? What would it look like for this to happen? If you do that every day, you'll engage your mind to automatically be in the present. Because when the mind is thinking of something, when you conjure up something in the mind, it's automatically in the present. But if you let your mind do its own thing, it's going to put you out of the present. Because the mind, it's interesting thing about the mind now, the mind cannot comprehend the present. This is why your mind can't go there. This is why your mind puts you in the past and the future. Because in the present, it's infinite Everything is happening at once. Your little mind, my friends, cannot comprehend infinity. So to the present, what your mind does to your present moment, since the mind is smart, the mind analyzes, the mind says, damn, I don't like to be there because there I can't control. There's just too much stuff going on. Let me put me back where I can control stuff. And that's where it controls you. Or let me put me back where I can tell this guy what the future is going to be, how bleak his future is going to be. Let me tell this guy how bad he did in the past. That way I can get him to be my slave. I can get him to be in control. I can control him. So what the mind does, it tells you, don't worry about the present, bro. It's always going to be there. Let's look to the next best thing. But guess what? There is no such thing as the next best thing. It's impossible. There's no such thing as tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes, my friend. It's always today. It's always right now. Your mind puts you in this loop to do that. So many people become prisoners of their mind when they came into the 3D world and they forgot their godlike consciousness and awareness and their true power because they never tapped into it. And then to make matters worse, they don't teach you this in school. They don't put this out so you can get it. You just got to be lucky to bump into this information. You just got to be, I don't know, lucky or chosen ones to find this stuff. And for those who do find this stuff, they have propelled their lives to be great. Like I found this stuff and I propelled my life to be great. You know, with me, I've won the lottery a lot of times. I've manifested so much stuff. I can teach, I can help. All of this is because I escaped the prism of the mind and I became my true authentic self. And I take information from the universe, from my higher self. I'm always tuned into my intuition. I'm always tuned into the present as much as possible. This is the game changer. So when it comes to the present, you ask me about manifesting. You can only manifest when you're in the present. Nothing can ever come to you in the future or the past. Even though your mind will tell you, well, you know, next week will be better. This will get better. We will be happy when we get this. That's an illusion. You'll always be chasing something. If you're going to be happy, you got to be happy now because now is all there is. And your mind does not like you to experience that. Question again. Why does the mind not like me to have success? Why does my ego or my mind just keeps me depressed and all this stuff, man? Doesn't it want the same thing I want? No. Your mind, you got to get something, people. Your mind is not yours. It's not a part of you. Well, it's a part of you, but it's a tool. But it's not who you truly are. It's an accessory to you. Your mind only cares about one thing. Keeping a routine no matter what it looks like. That's why they call it the monkey brain. That part of the mind didn't catch up or evolve as highly as your authentic subconscious mind. It deliberately stayed that way for protection. So what the mind does, back in the day when you were hunters and gatherers and we were running from saber-toothed lions and we were trying to protect ourselves from the elements, from cold, that was the mind to protect us. But the mind never caught up. So what it does now, in this era, we're more comfortable. You got air conditioner, you got heat, there's more supply of food, you're not running from tigers and bears anymore. So the mind didn't catch up, so the mind says, okay, where's the tigers and the bears? Okay, where's the survival? Oh, okay, so when he wants his desires, that's the tiger. When he wants to make a change and better his life, that's the bear. See, your mind don't want you to change. So it adapts to this moment and say, you can't do that. You can't have that. It's not going to work. You're not good enough because it doesn't want you to make a move. Listen, guys, the thing about the mind and the higher self or your authentic self, let's say lower self and higher self. We call your higher self the awareness, the enlightenment part of you where you can create, manifest, and bring things in life. The two differences between that higher and lower self is, number one, the lower self knows it has an expiration date. Your mind knows it's going to die one day. This is why your mind puts you in the past and wants to look ahead all the time. This is why it wants to protect. It doesn't want to die. That's why it cripples you with the fear and doubt. The reason you don't hear anything from your authentic self about this stuff, because the authentic self knows it's eternal. It knows there's no time. It knows it will come back. It knows it will reincarnate. It knows it will always be here. You have to know that to change your life while you're here in this limited experience on this 3D plane. So what we do is we become prisoners to the mind and to the past and to the future which takes you out of alignment to manifest your dreams. Once you realize, and I'm showing you this, I want to say once you realize that there's a part of you that will always be eternal. This part of you is an accessory. It's going to go. Just like your body is an accessory. It's going to go. The awareness is eternal. Your thoughts, your emotions, everything is eternal. It's accessory. It's clothes. Clothes disappear. They get old. They get dirty. Your body is clothing. It's not you. Until you can understand that, then that's where you will see the change. So to answer your question, consciousness is God. Physics, unified field theory. Your awareness creates the reality, your world. When you got into the world, you developed a mind. Because you weren't taught, you automatically assumed you were the mind. No one taught you that you're not the mind. The mind is a part of it. And if someone asked me another question, they say, well, man, how can you prove I'm not the mind, man? It's very simple. Because if you're aware of the mind, you are not the mind. You can never be something you're aware of, people. If you're aware that you're thinking, voila, you are not the mind. Everybody is aware that they're thinking. I'll make it even simple. If you're just aware, you're not the mind. Go write it down, man. I cannot be anything I'm aware. I can only experience. I'm the experience. Awareness is experience stuff. You're not the stuff. So that means the stuff don't have power over you. So what are we? We are waves of light energy. We are awareness and consciousness. What we are particles of energy disguised, and we become a human form. It's a process of our brains, but in true form, you are transparent energy. Did you know that the atom has no physical structure? There is nothing in the universe, on the quantum, on the molecular level, there is no physical structure within the universe. A matter of fact, 97% of the universe you and I cannot comprehend or see. It's hidden from us. When you look up at all the stars in the heavens, you see all those stuff. That's only 3% of reality. So when you ask me who you are nothing and everything existing at the same time. You are awareness, you're consciousness, you're thought. You can change, you can think, you can react, you can form, you can create because you have imagination. People don't understand this. People don't understand that if you want anything in your life, there's only one rule you have to do. And this was so instrumental for me. When I won the lottery, visualizing, man, is the secret to all success, man. Anything you want, you have to put picture in it, man. You have to, if you can see yourself in the first or third person and you can like repeat that, you get it. I visualized for like 11 months straight. I didn't even feel like 11 months and I won the lottery. Every night I go to bed, I was visualizing. Man, I used to look so forward to visualizing because I was in my own world. For the record, if you don't know this, whenever you're visualizing, you're actually entering another dimension, another reality, because everything is mind. This is what makes this so much fun, because the science shows this. So when someone's visualizing, when you're daydreaming, you're doing something more important than you could ever imagine. You're creating worlds. You're in another dimension. You're in another world. You're in another parallel reality. You're seeing what we call the future version of you existing. And I used to do that every night. I mean, I used to look forward to getting off work, just going home, just put my little earphones on, just visualize. Visualizing me winning the lottery, checking the tickets, whatever I wanted. Visualizing me driving my sports car. Every night, man. If you do that, you'll change your world. People do that. Really successful individuals do that, guys. Sports stars. Oh, they don't tell you this, but they visualize every time. Psychologists will show you this. Psychotherapists will show you this, man. That when you can visualize, you can change your whole world. How many people do that? How many of you guys do that? Not sometime. If you do this every night, make it a habit, you will get 99% of what you want. What is that? Why the guarantee of 99%? Because let's rewind. There's no physical structure in the universe. The particles that make you up, there's no physical structure. You're not a physical being. You're a perceived being. Okay? Hence, The imagination is what tells the brain to see what reality is. So there is no reality, there is only mind. So therefore, if there's only mind, and I can see me in the mind, then the mind becomes my reality, point blank. That's it. So if you do this every day, and it feels good, it feels normal, you're going to manifest it. That's it. So that is what I want to leave you with today. And I will see you guys again next time with some more good questions. See ya.